Okay, it being 5:30, I will call the Fitchburg Board of Public Works for February 19th of 2024. I see we have a full slate of board members tonight. Don Gutkowski, Dave Willard, Bill Jetzer, myself, Dave Herbst, and Kim Lobdell. Did I say Willard instead of Wilburn?
Wilborn.
That's what I meant to say. All right, moving on. Public appearances for non-agenda items. There is nobody here in chambers, so we will continue to move on, and I will entertain a motion for the approval of the February 5th meeting minutes.
I so move we approve February 5th meeting.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Dave and Don. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Moving on, report from the Director of Public Works. Take it away, Tim.
Thank you. A couple project updates. Phase 1 for the Cyene Road reconstruction project. The signals at Cyene and Lacey still remain flashing. We're working through some issues with the pre-signal with the railroad. We're trying to troubleshoot that. Hoping to have that up and running here in the next couple weeks. Our 2024 street resurfacing was advertised in the Wisconsin State Journal, and the drawings will be posted to Quest on Wednesday this week. And then after that, the 2024 street resurfacing, or street maintenance, which is our crack filling and chip seal contract, will be advertised. We're looking March to have that advertised, and then after the street maintenance is advertised, we're looking to have our 2024 sidewalk replacement project advertised also in March. And then the Fitchrona Road, Goose Lake stormwater project, we received proposals for the engineering and permitting services, and we are holding interviews with 3 engineering consultants. One of the interviews was held today, and the other 2 will be held tomorrow. Then after interviews, we'll look to select one of the consultants to move forward with on the design of that project. An update regarding our library chiller. The chiller arrived on site on February 8th, and it's being stored in the underground parking for the library. And we're looking to have the contractors start probably in April. With the install, there's a couple pumps that we're waiting for, so we're waiting to get those prior to having the contractor start. And then lastly, our Well 12 and Tower D projects, we're continuing the design work on that project. With that, does anyone have any questions?
Dave.
Tim, did we have any damage to any city facilities with the winds on Saturday, signs or trees going down on anything?
Not that I am aware of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, seeing no other questions. I guess I would say let's move on to agenda item 5, but that is the public hearing for the 2023 sidewalk replacement, and that is scheduled to happen at 6 p.m. So I guess
I would move I would move we amend the agenda to move to item 6, 6 and 7, and come back at 6 o'clock.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Okay. Moving on, agenda item 6A. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution R3224, amending the 2023 water utility budget.
I'll move to approve resolution R32-24.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Tim, you want to fill us in on what this is about?
Sure. The water utility filed a request with the Wisconsin Public Service Commission to increase the water rates through a full rate case review in 2023. The Public Service Commission invoices the applicant for all of the time spent completing the analysis, coordinating questions, and completing the required documentation. The cost of this work was higher than expected due to the volume of questions that we received from the PSC. The utility billing limited term employee staff utilized fewer hours than budgeted in 2023, so we're looking to amend the 2023 water utility budget to redirect $7,865 from the administrative LTE wages to the regulatory commission expense to cover the additional expense to answer those questions from the PSC.
Any discussion? Oh, Dave.
Tim, I'm sorry, can you give any characterization of the excessive questions? You know, I've been through a lot of rate cases. I know that they have change in staff. Was there anything specific? You know, you've done, I'm sure, quite a few water rate cases that, you know, what was raising their questions or why there were more?
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with our Tower D and well 12, kind of the expansion of that and the justification. So a lot of the questions were handled by our finance department, but I know Tracy was involved in the tower and well raised a lot of the questions.
Okay, understood.
Any other discussion? Okay. I'll call the vote here. All in
Bill?
Are
favor?
they close?
Yeah. Bill, one last thing,
Sure.
can, you know, for people watching, can Tim, you know, we go for a full rate case every number of years. Maybe Tim can just provide a quick little update. You know, we can ask for incremental changes in between, just a quick update if anyone's watching. I know Don, this is probably the first time he's gone through this with rate case with us.
Yeah, it's good to do rate cases more frequently, so you're not hit with like a 30 or 40% increase in rates. So to do these, you know, every 5 years, you kind of spread out that percentage so that the utility customer doesn't get hit with such a big increase. So I believe we're looking under around maybe 5%. Versus, you know, 30 or 40% if we were to have waited 10 years or 15 years to do one.
Kim?
Are you almost finished with this? Do you think that this budget item is going to cover the rest of the questions, or at what stage of the review are we at?
The review is complete. We had our rate case last week, February 14th. So no one from the public showed up to question, you know, the rate increase. So it was approved.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Seeing no more discussion, I'll call the vote. Everybody in favor of Resolution R3224, signify by saying aye.
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 Again, unanimous. Moving on, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution R0624, final assessment resolution for the 2023 sidewalk replacements.
Bill, can we do this before the?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
public
will have
meeting?
to.
Sorry, I probably goofed up. You shouldn't probably wait till the
Okay,
public hearing.
right,
I
okay,
think this time, I move we go into adjournment till,
till 6.
5:55, yeah. A little before 6.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Or recess, we go into recess unless you have a lot of meaningful dialogue, we'd like to.
You know me better than that, Dave.
Second.
All right, all in favor of recessing until shortly before 6 PM? Aye.
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 All right. 23 sidewalk replacement and final assessment. And I see we have one person registered to speak. Hector, you want to come up and grab a microphone? This one? Right next to Tim here. There you go, yeah.
May I start?
Yeah, and officially you've got 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Hector. I received the first assessment. I call out the guy that is in the letter. I think his name is Zach, I think.
That's me.
Yeah, I call you and I reported that the assessment is incorrect because in the assessment there are 2 blocks of different sizes, one for 5 inches and another one for 7 inches. I wasn't sure about the thickness of this concrete slab, but they start working on that. They start digging on that, and those slabs were visible. I took a meter tape, I measured those, and all of those are 5 inches. No, there is no one on 7 inches. I look on the process before and after, and they're always 7 inches. The constructor company that came to pour the concrete and create the slabs, they did 5 inches. So in the new assessment, again, I want to mark that it is incorrect. And I'm from 5240 Stoneman Drive. So again, I look on the assessment and still mark it slabs of 7 inches, which again, it is incorrect. So I was going to bring this to your attention because I think this is not a fair assessment in my particular case. I can see that maybe they didn't know the values of the thickness because they were hidden, and probably they considered that based on other places. But again, in my particular case, it is incorrect. Thank you. Oh, by the way, when I call to reassess that, I was promised that somebody will come. I never received an answer back from my call. I never received any letter back. I never received any visual or assessment about that. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Zach, if I remember correctly, the 5-inch slabs are for the standard sidewalk and 7-inch if they needed to replace something in the driveway, is that correct?
Yes. Is this on? Oh, yes.
It is now.
Yes, the 5-inch concrete is for regular sidewalk, and then the 7-inch concrete is for driveway panels. That 7-inch concrete provides a better surface for the cars to drive over and last longer.
And has the city verified that the contractor did indeed use 7 inches where necessary and 5 everywhere else?
Yes, during construction, I spot checked and measured the depth of the forms before they poured the concrete, and that's how I verified the depth before they poured it. So then they could correct anything, and we didn't have any issues that I found.
We have other commentary, Dave Herbst.
Just, can we have any comment on Hector's assessment and, was he charged for 7-inch concrete when all that was installed was 5?
I'm not sure, Hector. What exactly was the issue that you see? was your concrete that was removed 5-inch or?
May I speak? Okay, so, as I said, I received the initial assessment, which I don't know if you're able to see this big page, okay? And I look in mine, which I mark it with yellow, and I analyze the assessment, and the assessment clearly sees that there are two charges, one for 5 inches and one for 7 inches. And I can see where these charges of 7 inches is coming from because in my particular sidewalk, the 5 inches covers pretty much everything. And there is some, probably I will call probably 5 inches from one slab that covers the part of 5 inches and the other part that covers a little bit of the driveway. And maybe that's what this assessment coming from. But this slab, before and after, is always 5 inches. I can see that the 7 inches thickness of a slab is just on the driveway because, you know, you move heavy stuff. But my particular design or my particular situation has just a little bit of the slab entering on the driveway, but it's not complete the driveway. So I think that's what it's coming from. But as I said, before and after, it's always 5 inches. There is no slab concrete thickness of 7 inches, and that's what it's coming from the initial assessment. Thank you. And I have the original assessment here, and I have the new one here, and both mark the 7 inches, which is incorrect. And I was I'm sorry, just want to mention this again. I was on the entire process, before and after. When they poured the concrete to create slab, I measured that again, and it's still 5 inches all the way. Thank you.
I can verify that and change that 27.5 square feet at 7 inch to 27.5 square feet at 5 inch if it is only 5 inches thick.
And 27.5 square feet,
I would be,
that seems like
That's one panel.
one panel, okay.
Yeah, which is exactly what this gentleman was saying.
I don't see it.
His is probably the 6th or 7th from the bottom, the last one in the Excel sheet. You should
It's
have,
on page 15 of 34 for the entire agenda packet.
15? Oh, there it is.
So I think if Zach goes out and measures it and it is only 5 inches, because it was only one panel, maybe part of his driveway and not in the middle of his driveway or whatever, and changes the assessment, that Hector would be satisfied and it would be accurate. Is there any issue with that?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're asking me?
No, not you. I'm asking the city. If they go out and measure and it's 5 inches, just like you said, it was only one panel, and they change your assessment from 7 inches to 5 inches, you'll be satisfied, and we will be assessing you accurately if that's the way that it is.
I see the difference in price here is 50 cents per square foot, so we're talking about $13 total. I would think the bigger issue is whether any 5-inch panel was installed where a 7-inch should have been.
yeah, that's definitely a concern as well, and I will look at that. It's possible that the contractor didn't, because the panel might not overlap the driveway that much, and it's possible that they put in the 5-inch there when they should have put 7, or I had them marked down for putting 7 and they actually put in 5, and that would have been definitely a miscommunication, but I'll measure it in the field and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just want to mention this. That's exactly the point. It's not the entire panel. So they put, and in fact, it is interesting because when I watched the process, they didn't create a panel. They poured the entire slab of 5 times, wherever it is, and they just manually make the marks to divide the panels. But back to this issue of the panel, that's right, it's not the entire panel. is a portion of the panel of 5 inches that touch the driveway. It's just a portion, a little portion. And like I said, I watched the process before and after, and they never make a panel of 5 inches for certain distance, and the last end of that 5 inches slab of 7 inches. They never did that. They all make uniform 5 inches. Thank you.
And how far into your driveway does that?
Like I said, it's
Panel
probably
extend.
6 inches, something like that. That this 5 inches panel enter into the driveway, so it's very minimum, and it's not subject to heavy weight or anything because it's just the one side of the driveway. It doesn't even cover the driveway at all. It's just a small amount, and that's probably why. I don't know. I just thinking that's probably why they didn't do the entire 7 inches in the whole area. I guess I don't know.
So Zach, the city policy is if any portion of a slab overlaps with the driveway, the entire thing should be 7 inches?
Yes, and, well, yes and no. What they can do is they can make the area that's overlapping the driveway 7 inches and then ramp it up to 5 inches at the other side of the panel. Because the way that they do pour this is they'll pour the entire stretch of sidewalk, whatever's being replaced, and then they trowel in those joints rather than forming each piece separately. But they trowel in the joints, or theoretically they could saw cut it after it. They could pour it as one panel and then saw cut it afterwards. But it's a lot cheaper to trowel in the joints, and so that's what they do.
Zach, can you verify, and if, you verify it as 5 inches, make the adjustment,
Absolutely.
Hector's assessment? Okay. All right. So we ask that you follow up with, set a schedule or whatever and follow up with Hector.
Yeah, I'll
Put
do it
this one
tomorrow.
put it to bed. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
All right, seeing nobody else this evening, I can close the public hearing.
He doesn't know he can leave.
You're free to go.
I just have one more question. So, is this final assessment will officially terminate it, or is pending to my evaluation? So that's what I don't understand. What is next?
Zach?
Yes, so this assessment is, the costs have now been finalized, obviously after we adjust it. If it is 5-inch thick there, we can do that. What the next step is the accounting and finance, they will send out a bill, and you'll have 60 days to pay that bill. And then if you can choose to pay that bill or not, and then if you don't pay the bill, that's when it's an official assessment and it's placed on your taxes. So I would hope that after council approves the final assessment next week, we'll get those bills out in about a week after that, and then 60 days from when we send those out is when it would be an official assessment applied on your taxes.
Bless you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my ignorance, but this is the first time I've done this. So you mentioned about I will receive a bill, and if I don't pay the bill, that will be in my taxes. So next year I will receive the taxes increase just for me. Is that a correct assessment? Or can you explain me this process?
Yes, and that applies to all the different parcels. They can either choose to pay the bill, or it's called a special assessment, where the amount is assessed to their taxes, and then they have to pay the tax increase specifically to them.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry.
We incur interest.
Oh, with interest.
Yes.
There you go. So that's an important part. So if I don't pay the bill within 60 days, it will be in my taxes with interest. But if I pay that within the 60 days, there will not be interest and everything is fine. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Yeah, okay. So I guess I leave. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Okay. All right, now the public hearing is officially closed. Moving on. Item 6B. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution R0624, the final assessment for the 2023 sidewalk replacements.
I'll move
I'll
approval in R 0624.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for Tim, though. I see some of these where we're paying, the city's paying 100% of the, and I'm trying to figure out why we are. And
It'd be city-owned property.
the city owns property across from it
Correct.
on all these
Yes.
that are 100%,
Yes.
right?
There might be somewhere if you look at note number 3, those are locations where a tree in the terrace damaged the sidewalk. And so this year are paying those sidewalk panels as well because of the length of time between this sidewalk replacement project and the previous one. The trees kind of got out of hand because the city was experiencing a bit of turnover and the sidewalk project was always the one kind of pushed to the end. So for this year and this year only, we're paying for areas where the terrace tree damaged the sidewalk.
What about the ones that the condo associations aren't paying anything? You got property across from that too? Is it?
The condos are paying for their sidewalk.
Yeah, so the way the assessment policy works is only single or two family, and that's how it's worded in the policy. They're the ones who we split the cost with. So any other properties, so that would be commercial, multifamily, like condos or apartments, or other large properties like agricultural, but I don't think we have any of those. They pay 100%. So if you look at any of the condos, those are the blue highlighted lines. The only ones that we are paying 100% for are where there's a terrace tree. Most of the time, the condos are paying 100% because they're not a single or a two-family residence.
And the other question I have for you, are you planning on going back out to hectares at all now or what?
Yeah, Rob or Zach will go out tomorrow
Okay.
to take a look at that.
All right, thanks.
Any other discussion?
Do we, did you get any other concerns, complaints outside of Hector who showed up here that have to be resolved before everything's sent out?
So I did receive, when I sent out the letter to notice for this hearing, I did receive a couple of emails back and forth and calls. All of those have been resolved as far as I'm aware, unless I got some in the time we've been sitting here. So I do not believe there's anything other than Hector's concern we need to address.
Dave Herbst.
Bill? Zach and Tim, how'd you find the quality? You know, this is the first time we used this contractor. Was the quality what you expected? I know they completed it in the time frame, you know, that we wanted.
Yeah, we've been happy with the quality. You know, for the first time using them and the price, the city definitely got value from what we got. So there's a couple areas we need to bring them back to restore, but you know that's minor compared to the overall project, and the sidewalk is the important thing.
Thank you.
When the initial notices went out, did the people, like, what was the estimated cost when the notices went out? Was that at this $12 to $13, or was
No,
it still at
it was
$25 to $30?
$25 for the
the
5 inch
5-inch.
and then 30 or
Yeah, 30 for the 7
yeah,
inch.
30 for the 7 inch. So it almost cut in half
Yeah, so
from what we estimated.
I imagine there were fewer
Yeah.
complaints than there otherwise would have
Yes, yes. And that, that our estimate was based on just kind of contract unit pricing that we had for other projects. Fortunately, we were able to get this contractor that, just started up and was hungry for work, and it worked out.
Anybody else think it's kind of strange that there's only 50 cents per square foot difference between the 5 and 7? I mean, is that a loss leader?
Yeah, Struck me a little odd too, Bill. It seems like-
Honestly, most of the cost with concrete work is not the raw materials, it's the formwork, it's the man hours. So the 50-cent difference is what they bid. That's not what we that's not what we estimated. We estimated the difference to be $5 a square foot, but they bid 50 cents a square foot difference, and that's mainly due to the fact that the cost of the concrete itself is not the highest factor for them.
So is there anything special we need to do in terms of voting on this resolution tonight, given that you do have one visit to go out and take a look at Hector's sidewalk?
No, the change for Hector, if we do have to make it, is not more than 10%. So, we'll be able to finalize this after this hearing.
Okay.
Question on quality control process for the property owners. They assessed, they paid for the concrete. Some of this, I think we asked the question, wasn't the best time of the year. It was the colder time of the year we're putting this in there. If it starts breaking up, what's our process for that? They start getting cracks where they shouldn't be.
So the city has a warranty period which starts from the date of final acceptance of the project. So right now they're substantially complete. Did we issue a final? We haven't issued the final yet. So once we issue that final acceptance, I believe it's 14 months from that date that we'll have a warranty. If something does crack, the contractor would have to come back and make the repair.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Dave, Kim? Okay. I will call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R0624, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay. Moving on to announcements. Our next Board of Public Works meeting is Monday, March 4th at 5:30 p.m. I presume that'll also be here in the council chambers. Yes, indeed. Okay. Any other announcements?
I do have a conflict, so I probably won't attend that one.
Okay.
You won't be here March 4th. I'm going to be here, so we'd only be short one. So we still have a quorum, right?
Yeah. All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I so move we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We are adjourned.